Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bolden, welcome. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. On January 6th, all of us in the entire nation was horrified at the terrorist attack that occurred here in Washington, D.C. The violent assault on the Capitol was horrific, and the men and women of the Capitol Police and D.C. Metro Police and law enforcement demonstrated extraordinary bravery and heroism and courage. At the same time, what happened on January 6th must never be allowed to happen again. A riot that succeeds in breaching the Capitol, that endangers the lives of lawmakers and law enforcement, is an unacceptable security situation, and you've done a serious job examining what caused, what law enforcement failures precipitated what occurred that day. When you previously testified to this committee, you stated the primary problems were on the front end, a lack of adequate intelligence gathering, and on the day of execution, a lack of operational planning in place to handle an incident like the January 6th attack. And I'd like to follow up on what specific steps Capitol Police have taken since then to ensure that never happens again. What specific steps has the Capitol Police taken since June of 2021 to improve its intelligence gathering?
Thank you, sir. One of the things they have done is they went out and hired, actually was a retired Secret Service agent who had extensive training and expertise in large event planning, operational planning. So they went out and hired from the outside, and you could certainly see the difference in September 18th, the latest large demonstration that we had here on the Hill. By bringing that expertise in there and coordinating the gathering to have an operational plan has greatly enhanced the department's ability to respond and react to potentially large demonstrations. The department has increased the number of intelligence analysts. They still have a ways to go, I would say, but they have increased the intelligence analysts. And in fact, like I had testified earlier, that they have additional either 4 or 5 analysts in training as we speak. So they have made some improvements in providing the intelligence briefings to the rank and file officers, to the other, beyond the executive team, as I would call them, but your inspectors and your captains, your line folks that are actually going to have to react to a situation. So those folks are getting the briefings now. They're getting the intelligence materials and assessments in a timely manner so that it's real time. With the department also issuing department or government cell phones, they can get the alerts in real time in case there's a problem with the radio. So now they at least have a backup to get that information, not solely relied on a radio that could potentially get overwhelmed immediately, but you still have that ability with the cell phones.
So what additional steps do Capitol Police need to take to improve their intelligence gathering capabilities?
I think they still need to, one, first order of business is they need to hire a full-time director. Right now they're in the capacity of an acting director. So they need to fill that position, fill it quickly, and then look to have that individual who has that expertise to look across his folks that he or she has, and one is to elevate to a bureau level. I still believe that they need to elevate it from a division to a bureau level, a standalone, full, robust intelligence bureau, hire additional analysts, and look and keep up with the ways intelligence gathering is done, and also to be able to disseminate the information that you receive from the field quickly and timely to the officers.
Now, the other major source of the problems on January 6th that you identified was a failure to implement effective operational plans during the attack. What specific steps have the Capitol Police taken to develop and design workable operational plans to deal with a situation like that in the future?
One of the things we noted when they came up with that operational plan initially for January 6th, it was so stovepipe, the term, that there were different elements within the Capitol Police who would either do their own plan or didn't have one. So you didn't have a department-wide plan. Now what they have done is they have incorporated, whether it be CERT, K-9, hazardous incident response teams, DPD, under one umbrella of so you have an overall, so everybody else knows what everybody else is doing, what their plan of action is going to be, whether it be the bike units or just the patrol division units. So everybody at least understands what the other units, what other assets they may have to call upon under one operational plan. So it's a department-wide as opposed to the way it was in January 6th, was just basically CDU and that was it.
So what more do Capitol Police need to do to improve their operational capability in the event of a riot or other violent attack?
I think they need, one, is to continue with their training. Don't make the training that they've conducted with their CDU units, but also they need to train together. In other words, whether it be CERT and DPD, they need to be doing training exercise together in case of emergency so that it becomes a little bit easier. Or even K-9. How's K-9 going to in a way, set up scenarios where K-9 is going to have to assist the Dignitary Protective Division? All right. Come up with scenarios, train together. So these units are actually need to start training together as opposed to separate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Cruz. I know something that you and I and you have discussed and you care about very much, as do all of us, Senator Cruz, is the number of threats that we've seen against members of Congress over the past several years. The Capitol Police reported over 4,100 threats against members of Congress in just the first 3 months of this year. That's on track to more than double the number of threats against members in all of 2020. The chief has said that he expects that the department and law enforcement partners will have to respond to 9,000 threats to members this year. Has the Capitol Police, Mr. Bolton, taken action since June to keep up with these serious threats, and are additional resources and personnel needed?
The department is doing a good job in keeping up with the threats. I think by having them open up a field office down in Florida is going to assist once that gets up and fully running. But they are taking steps. They have hired additional analysts. They have, like I said before, they have several in school, but there still needs to be additional folks hired and brought on board in the intelligence. So we still have a ways to go, but we are making improvements. We're taking our steps now.
And I think understandably you focused on because of January 6th, the intelligence piece of this, but there's more than that as well, of course, and that's the follow-up when there is active threats and the police protection and the like that we're very concerned about. I had, let's see, one smaller question. Your report raised broader concerns about the accuracy of department staffing records, and we've all talked about the problem with lack of staff, but the records. Do you agree that the department should maintain accurate records of any one on duty and where they are stationed?
Oh, yes. As we noted in our one of our last flash reports with the manpower issue we dealt with, that the department couldn't provide us records, whether it be recalls or the amount of folks they actually had at that time. So the concept that it was in all hands is dubious at best in a sense. They couldn't provide us with that kind of documentation. And it's also important to note when it came time for deputizing some outside law enforcement, the department didn't have the proper records to document who was deputizing by whom, which could present an issue if that individual made it a federal arrest and there was a local officer, then the question of their legal authority for making that arrest could come into question if we can't prove that they were actually deputized.
Okay. Something to follow up on. In your report on command communications, you recommended that the department implement a policy requiring senior officials to rotate through various posts of the Capitol Police. I just am recalling when I was the DA, I did this a day at a time, but I would see line people at work and basically on the front line, and it gave me a much bigger sense of challenges and the like. So could you elaborate on that? And then I have one last question, Senator Flynn.
The department needs to develop a rotational policy. You can't have certain individuals who will spend their entire career in one unit, whether it's 23 years out of their 25 years in CERT, or even DPD.
So you're talking about senior managers rotating to be in charge of different units.
Whether it be the senior manager, also the rank and file officers, because what you want to do is you want to develop your officers, your individuals who are specially trained in the CERT or K-9 or have these other skills. You want them back in the field with those skills, so to get them promoted through the ranks into leadership positions, because then they also have that background and that knowledge and skills, and also allow your younger officers to come into those specialty skills without having to wait numerous years in order to become a CERT officer or K-9 or a DPD agent. That you start, what you want is a well-rounded police department. And if you don't have a rotational policy, you're not going to get there.
Okay. Just a yes or no question. We know there's so much more work to do, but do you believe that the department is better prepared than they were on January 6th?
Keeping it simple, yes.
Chứa chan tình thương, ngày mai xa cách hai đứa hai nơi, phút gần gũi nhau mất rồi, tạ từ là hết người ơi. Tiếng ve nức nở buồn hơn tiếng lòng, biết ai còn nhớ đến ân tình không? Đường xưa in bóng hai đứa nay đâu, những chiều hẹn nhau lúc đầu, giờ như nước trôi qua cầu. Giá biết bạn lòng ơi, thôi nay xa cách rồi, kỷ niệm đừng xin nhớ mãi. Buồn riêng một mình ai, chờ mong từng đêm gối chiếc, mối u hoài này anh có hay? Nếu ai đã từng nhặt hoa thấy cảm thông được nỗi vắng xa người thương. Màu hoa phượng thắm như máu con tim, mỗi lần hè sang kỷ niệm, người xưa biết đâu mà tìm. Giá biết bạn lòng ơi, thôi nay xa cách rồi, kỷ niệm đừng xin nhớ mãi. Buồn riêng một mình ai, chờ mong từng đêm gối chiếc, mối u hoài này anh có nhặt hoa thấy buồn, cảm thông được nỗi vắng xa người thương. Màu hoa phượng thắm như máu con tim, mỗi lần hè sang kỷ niệm, người xưa biết đâu